a story you'll only see here. For the very first time, the family of 31-year-old Aisha Nelson and her 6-year-old daughter Harper Monroe are talking publicly.
Now, it's been almost 4 months since Dayton police found the mom and daughter dead in their Burley Avenue home after a welfare check and multiple domestic violence calls to police. Brent Caswell back with us live in studio now, telling us how they want to see justice served and why they're frustrated with Dayton police. Brent?
Adam, Megan, the Nelson family tells me they have repeatedly called Dayton police asking for clarity about what exactly led up to the murder of Aisha and her 6-year-old daughter. But they say no one at DPD is picking up the phone and calling them back.
Keely Nelson and her daughter Tangia want answers.
All I know is that my daughter and my granddaughter were killed. That's it. They were shot. I know nothing else.
In this body camera video from June 23rd, 2 Dayton police officers responded to a house on Burley Avenue just hours before 31-year-old Iesha Nelson and her 6-year-old daughter Harper Monroe were found dead in the home's basement. Nelson had called police multiple times about concerns that her boyfriend, who also lived at the Burley Avenue house, had threatened her with a gun. Police say her boyfriend, 32-year-old Waverly Haas, who went by Dante, was found dead that day in Alabama from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound.
I hold the officers accountable.
Yes.
Because if they would have did a better job with judgment, all 3 of them would be here.
Nelson's family says the entire body camera video is a cry for help.
He's trying to create an uncomfortable situation for me, to where not only can I not live here peacefully, but he's making it to where I can't even go peacefully.
Police explained some options to Nelson if her situation becomes an emergency, including the women's shelter in YWCA. But the officers left after about a half hour at the home.
They didn't do their job. And now Aisha and Harper are gone. It's about to be 4 months. They are no longer with us because police failed to protect them.
I took their concerns to Dayton police. DPD sent me a statement saying, in part, quote, "The Professional Standards Bureau is currently conducting an administrative investigation. The investigation findings are currently under final review and will be available soon." According to this 15-page order outlining how Dayton police officers should respond to domestic violence calls, police say the officers who responded to that call did not file a report, which is why police say an internal investigation has been launched to see if the officers followed departmental policy. According to Dayton Police Department policy regarding domestic violence, police did the right thing by separating both Haas and Nelson and conducting separate interviews. But policy states police must take a written statement.
She obviously doesn't believe it. She doesn't believe it, or she would not still be here sitting in the same house with her kid.
The officers decided they did not have reasonable cause to believe anyone was guilty of domestic violence, which attorney Michael Wright, who is representing the Nelson family, says was a wrong, deadly decision.
There was a firearm in the house. Why didn't they at least remove the firearm?
Attorney Michael Wright says once his team concludes their investigation, they will be launching a lawsuit against the city of Dayton. Back to you.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I have another story, but before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Now let's get started. This story is about a young lady named Iesha Nelson, age 31. Now Aisha was originally from New York, New Jersey, and Aisha went to Central High School and graduated in 2009. Aisha also had a 6-year-old daughter. Now, Aisha went to the Navy right after she graduated from high school. And also, Aisha's whole goal and plan was to make and provide a better life for her daughter. And that's what she started to do. Now, Aisha did not want to move back to New Jersey, so she wound up trying to find a better place for her and her daughter. But before then, she would go and try to find somewhere that was suitable for both. In the meantime, she would meet a guy named Waverly Dante Halls, age 31 years old also. Now, Aisha planned to date Halls a long time, but plans would take a huge turn. Not only did Halls change after the relationship, Halls started changing tremendously once her daughter came to stay. for at least the summer, it was told. Now, Hall and also Nelson, both their daughters were staying there. Hall's daughter was 9 years old and Nelson's daughter was 6. Everything would take a huge turn on the night of June 23rd. This is the story of Iesha Nelson. Now, Aisha and Dante would get the arguing, and Dante would consistently tell Aisha that she needed to move and leave for her and her daughter to get out of the house. Now, Aisha thought that this argument was because he was intoxicated from going out to drink a lot and eat for Taco Tuesday, but she said it carried on to the next day where he started harassing her, kicking the bathroom door open, like coming into the room she tried to separate herself from, and it was getting worse over time. Aisha would then call the police on June 22nd at like 5:26 p.m. asking police how to make a police report. And this is the call.
Dispatch.
Hi, I have a question.
Iesha Nelson's first 911 call came in just before 5:30 on June 22nd. She asks how to file a police report after she says her boyfriend threatened to kill her.
He do have possession of a gun that I purchased. He did take it, and I didn't make a big fuss about it. But since he threatened my life, he has the means to do it.
The dispatcher encourages her to go to a nearby police station and call from there to have an officer come out and take a report. He also reminds her there are local shelters she can stay at for safety. But according to regional dispatch records, she didn't call back until just after midnight on June 23rd. She asks for an officer to meet her at a Family Dollar so she could file a police report.
I don't want him arrested. I just want to make a report, just in case anything does happen, because I'm going to protect myself.
Now, after that call was made, the next day, on the 23rd, around 12:04 a.m., another call would be made. This time, Aisha asking could a police officer or something meet her at the Family Dollar. Afterwards, on June 23rd, again, at about 1:50 a.m., another call was made, and this would bring police out to the house. Now, this is how that went.
But again, if there's a genuine threat, I have the right to go down there and file for a TPO as well. This is my dwelling. This is all I know. I'm from Jersey. I'm from the East Coast. I'm not even from here. My family is there.
Take it.
Because it's like
we're hearing you out, and I want to hear you out, but I also want you
I don't want to. I'm telling you, I really don't want to go that route to where it's like another restraining order, another legal issue for him, another nothing. But he's continuing to threaten me in front of my daughter, and I'm not going to say let me let him run me up out of here like he ran the last girl up out of here, because all the threats with I'll get my sister to whoop you and all of that, I'm not going to have it. This is where I stay. If you're going to pose a threat, you can go. You could go in handcuffs, or you could go. But like you said, this is his dad's house. I have this right, though. And I'm not about to let him abolish my right. I have the right to be here.
Just hear what I'm saying. I'm not trying to argue with you.
No, I'm not trying to argue with you, but I'm just trying to make sure you understand the situation.
If it's not a good situation, start making the process transition out somewhere else or do something else.
Did you make the same suggestion?
I told him the exact same thing.
Okay.
So
I'm telling you the same thing.
what my partner's trying to say is that if you legitimately don't feel like this is a good living situation for you, then, like, for me, if I was in a situation that wasn't good for me, I would want to get out.
Okay,
but
hear
the
me
fact
out,
that you're saying, like, I'm going to stay.
I just got here. I don't have a relative's house I could go to. He wants to be here in the heat of this situation. Like I said, his dad owns 4 houses on this block. He could go to his granny house. He could go anywhere. You said cooler heads prevail. He's not trying to get out of this situation. He's trying to create an uncomfortable situation for me, to where not only can I not live here peacefully, but he's making it to where I can't even go peacefully, because he took my money. He cleaned the account out. He cut off my credit cards. That's what he's doing. So what am I supposed to do?
The fact that this is a family member's house, like one of his family members' houses, he's not going anywhere.
So after that, officers wind up leaving because they couldn't talk now one of them into leaving. And so the officers wind up leaving. But a short while after that, almost an hour later, Dante's father will call police and ask for a wellness check. He stated he went over to the residence and opened the door and nobody responded to him. So before then, he didn't tell police anything else other than that. The police went out to do a wellness check and found Aisha and her 6-year-old daughter deceased in the basement of the house. Now, this house was owned by Dante's father, and his father owned other houses on the land or whatever. So it was the grandmother staying next door and other family members. Now, it was stated that Dante later on did call his father, telling his father he had shot Aisha. So that's what actually originally why the father went over to the residence to see, was his son just talking or was this for real? Now, Dante had already left. Come to find out, he dropped his daughter off at a family member's house and flee town. I mean, he was almost 7 hours away once police realized that he had shot Aisha. Now, unfortunately, they wound up finding Dante, but they found Dante in another state, which would be Huntersville, Alabama, in his car, deceased, with a gunshot wound, self-inflicted. So not only did he take Aisha and her daughter's life, he also took his own life. But before that, he dropped his daughter off at a family member's house. Now, everybody don't really know the reason why they really got into it. Neighbors also state that they was quiet and people were shocked that this had happened between the two. Now, everybody is saying Aisha was wrong. She should have left. Everybody can state their own opinions, but at the end of the day, 3 lives were lost and 2 were taken, not by choice, but by force.
2 lives were lost, and we're saying that a 30-day suspension is warranted and some retraining. What needs to happen is immediate termination and retraining of the entire Dayton Police Department.
I really get stuck sometimes. Like, I can't believe that my sister is not here. And then me being her twin sister is like, I'm just broken.
And yes, I too have an opinion. I feel like Aisha had a right to be there, but at the same time, she also had a right to protect her daughter. I feel like she should have left. And I feel like she also should have reached out to family members and someone could have helped and sent her money for her and her daughter to go back to, New Jersey. But again, we don't know where her mind was. And she also stated in these videos that he had maxed out her credit cards, got them cut off, and she had no funds after paying rent. So Aisha not only didn't have family members where she was, she also had nowhere to go, even though police officers stated for her to go to a safe place and there was safe places for her. Now, unfortunately, Aisha and her 6-year-old daughter, beautiful daughter, lost their life to gun violence. And Dante, this was not his first rodeo. Dante stayed in trouble and he also was in a domestic violence situation with his child's mother. And he was already going through a court case with that. And it seems like Aisha was trying to prevent him from getting in any more trouble. I mean, she was refusing to make a police report. All she wanted to do was settle the conflict. And at this point, she didn't even understand why they were in such a heated conflict that she found was so petty. Unfortunately, we don't know why Dante even acted that way. For all we know, he wanted her out to move someone else in, or he was just tired of arguing back and forth with her. I mean, it could be various of reasons, but to shoot her 6-year-old daughter in a basement, leaving them in the house was just ridiculous. It showed signs of being aggressive and just trying to be overpowering to the point where he took these people's lives. And let's think for a minute, because he took his daughter to a safe place. But was she in the house witnessing all of this stuff going on, even the shootings? We don't know. And at the end of the day, even though he shot both people, he had time enough to think. And I feel like nothing was wrong with his head. He reacted off of anger, killing them. But yet, he could think about his daughter and not think about hers. You guys, be safe. Watch your back. You never know what might happen to you. If a person show you signs of harming you, taking your life, doing anything to that extent, get out of there. Like, of course, she had plenty of opportunities to leave, but she didn't. She also didn't have anywhere to go. So at this point in time, she's no longer here, and we don't know what she was thinking. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, who we to blame here? Who are we to fault? And yes, the officers could have arrested him, could have arrested her, could have arrested both of them for domestic violence, and both of them refusing to leave. We don't know the protocols of the police, but what we do know is these officers were suspended, and they also had to take some kind of course on domestic violence so they can be better trained to handle these domestic violence situations like this. So hopefully the next time they'll be able to know what to do if they are placed in a situation like this. But unfortunately, all the talking they did to her went in one ear and out the other. I mean, for all we know, the officers thought that they resolved this situation. But unfortunately, when they left, the whole situation took a huge turn for the worse. And I feel like Dante had an opportunity to think about her child, because he definitely thought about his. Now, you guys, this story happened in Dayton, Ohio. So, of course, Aisha was from, New Jersey, and she didn't have any family there. So, unfortunately, she had nowhere literally to go, as you heard in those videos. And this situation is really sad. So we're going to just keep her family members in our prayers, like I said. And unfortunately, this happened to her. And you guys, just try to keep you and your child safe no matter what, by all means necessary. If that means sleeping in your car, reaching out to family members. And I do thank Aisha, because she was trying to save him so many times, y'all. She kept saying she don't want him arrested, but at the end of the day, she wanted to make a report in case something did happen, because he was threatening her. And she was just starting to get afraid, because of course he had been in trouble before. So you guys, this situation was really messy and iffy. And I'm kind of glad that Aisha was able to tell her story, because she told a lot in those videos, in those phone calls, talking to the police with their cameras. Like, she told her own story. Otherwise, no one would have even known exactly what all was happening. And of course, police did interview him too, you guys. So let's just keep this family in prayer.